On a sunny morning in Lagos, with laughter echoing from Chidinma's cozy living room, Adaeze rocks the baby gently in her arms, making silly faces while Chidinma cooks in the kitchen. Chidinma smiling. "You're a natural, Ada. I don't know how I would have survived these past weeks without you." Adaeze grins, bouncing the baby. "At least I'm good at something. Not good at keeping a man, but babies. I can manage." They laugh, but Adaeze's eyes briefly cloud with sadness. Chidinma notices. "Chidinma, you'll find love again, Ada. Stop saying things like that." Adaeze, "Love is overrated, Chi. Men only love when it's convenient." Chidinma shakes her head, smiling as she stirs the soup. Just then, Emeka walks in, wearing his work shirt with the sleeves rolled up, his strong arms carrying a bag of groceries. He looks tired but manages a warm smile. Emeka, "Good morning, my two favorite women." Adaeze blushes slightly but quickly looks away, focusing on the baby. Chidinma teasing, "Oh, so I have competition now." Emeka, laughing, "Ada is like my second wife in this house. She's even better at keeping the baby calm than you." They all laugh. Adaeze smiles shyly but avoids his gaze. As the day goes on, little moments begin to show subtle connections forming between Emeka and Adaeze. Nothing inappropriate, but enough to plant seeds of tension. Emeka compliments Adaeze's cooking when she helps in the kitchen, making her blush. While Chidinma naps, Adaeze and Emeka sit in the living room talking quietly about life, dreams, and disappointments. Adaeze confides about her heartbreaks, and Emeka listens attentively, giving her comforting advice. At one point, Adaeze laughs at something he says, and their eyes meet for a second too long. Both look away quickly, guilt flickering in their expressions. That evening, as Chidinma breastfeeds the baby in the bedroom, Adaeze goes to the balcony for fresh air. Emeka steps out to join her, carrying 2 mugs of tea. The Lagos evening breeze is warm, the sky glowing orange. They stand side by side, sipping tea in silence. Emeka, softly, "You're a good person, Ade. Don't let the wrong men make you think otherwise." Adaeze turns to him, her eyes glistening. Adaeze whispering, "Thank you. You're a good man too." Their eyes lock again, longer this time, before Chidinma's voice calls from inside. "Ada, please help me with the baby's towel." They both flinch, stepping apart quickly. Adaeze rushes inside, leaving Emeka standing alone on the balcony, staring into the night, his expression unreadable. The atmosphere in the house begins to subtly change. Chidinma, still recovering from childbirth, spends more time resting, leaving Adaeze and Emeka to handle little chores and the baby together. One humid evening, the baby cries endlessly. Chidinma, exhausted, falls asleep in the bedroom. Adaeze struggles to soothe the baby, pacing back and forth, frustration creeping in. Emeka steps in, shirt sleeves rolled up, his face showing concern. Emeka, "Here, let me help." He takes the baby confidently, humming softly. Adaeze watches in awe as the baby quiets almost immediately. Adaeze smiling, "Wow, you're really good at this." Emeka half smiling, "You learn fast when you're the only man in the house. Besides, I like taking care of those I love." The words hang in the air for a moment too long. Adaeze shifts uncomfortably, looking away. Days later, Chidinma sleeps early after a long day, leaving Emeka and Adaeze watching TV in the living room. The power goes out briefly, leaving only candlelight. Adaeze, "Sometimes I feel like I'm just existing. Everyone my age is getting married, starting families, and here I am still the same unlucky Ada." Emeka gently, "You're not unlucky, you just haven't met someone who values you. You deserve better." Adaeze looks at him, her eyes softening. Adaeze, "Do you really think so?" Emeka sincerely, "I know so." A heavy silence follows as they stare at each other. Emeka quickly clears his throat, turning back to the TV. The next afternoon, Adaeze is in the kitchen alone, slicing vegetables. Emeka walks in to grab a bottle of water. Their hands brush accidentally as she passes him the knife. She gasps slightly, dropping the knife. Emeka bends to pick it up, their faces suddenly inches apart. For a fleeting moment, they just stare at each other, breathing tense, hearts pounding. Emeka stands slowly, holding her gaze, then quickly steps back, forcing a strained smile. Emeka, be careful with sharp objects. He walks out quickly, leaving Adaeze staring at the door, her chest rising and falling fast. That night, Chidinma stays with a friend who just lost her child, leaving Adaeze and Emeka alone with the baby. After putting the baby to sleep, they sit on the balcony, the Lagos night quiet except for distant car horns. Adaeze laughs at something Emeka says, leaning closer. Their hands brush, then linger. The laughter fades. Emeka slowly reaches to tuck a stray lock of her hair behind her ear. Their faces move closer, lips almost touching. Suddenly, the baby cries loudly from the bedroom, breaking the moment. Both jump up, guilty expressions flashing across their faces. Later, Adaeze lies awake in her room, staring at the ceiling, tears forming in her eyes. She whispers to herself, "God, what is wrong with me? He's my sister's husband." Meanwhile, in his room, Emeka sits on the edge of the bed, running his hands through his hair, whispering, "This has to stop before it's too late." But their thoughts linger on that almost kiss, the forbidden spark now too strong to ignore. Heavy rain beats against the windows, and thunder rumbles in the distance. The atmosphere feels tense, as if the house itself senses what's about to happen. Chidinma has travelled to her mother's house for the weekend to take the baby for baptism in her church. Only Emeka and Adaeze remain in the house. Adaeze sits on the couch in the dimly lit living room, her hair loose around her shoulders. Emeka walks in, also in casual clothes, holding 2 mugs of tea. "You look cold here." Adaeze takes the tea, their fingers brushing slightly. She forces a smile. "Thanks, it's strange. The house feels too quiet without Chi and the baby." Emeka sits beside her, close enough that she can feel his warmth. For a while, they sip their tea in silence, listening to the rain. Then Adaeze speaks, her voice low. "Do you ever feel trapped? Like life gave you everything, but you're still lonely sometimes?" Emeka stares into his cup, then looks at her. "I love your sister, but marriage isn't always easy. There are days I feel invisible, like I'm just existing." Adaeze meets his eyes, tears welling. "That's how I feel, all the time." Their eyes lock, no words, just silence, thick, heavy, and dangerous. The thunder roars louder. Emeka reaches out and wipes a tear from Adaeze's cheek. She doesn't stop him. "Ade." But Adaeze leans into his hand, closing her eyes. Slowly, as if pulled by something stronger than willpower, he leans closer. Their lips touch, soft at first, then hungry, desperate. The teacups fall to the floor, forgotten. The screen fades to later that night. The rain has stopped, but the air feels heavy with guilt. Adaeze lies in bed, staring at the ceiling, her face pale and tear-streaked. Emeka sits at the edge of the bed, his head in his hands. "Adaeze, this was wrong, so wrong." Emeka, "I know. God, what have we done?" She pulls the blanket around herself, trembling. "Adaeze, we can't ever let this happen again. Chi doesn't deserve this." Emeka nods, but his eyes linger on her for a moment before he stands, walking out of the room. The next morning, Adaeze is packing her clothes, tears silently rolling down her cheeks. She whispers to herself, "I have to leave, before this destroys us all." But as she zips her bag, Chidinma's voice suddenly calls from the front door. "Ada, I'm back early. Where are you?" Adaeze freezes, panic spreading across her face. Emeka, standing by the window, stiffens. Their secret is now trapped in the same house, and Chidinma's return will make hiding it even harder. The living room is filled with Chidinma's cheerful voice as she unpacks baby things. Adaeze forces a smile, her hands trembling as she folds clothes. Emeka stays unusually quiet, pretending to be busy with his phone. Chidinma, noticing the tension, laughs lightly. "What's wrong with you two? You're acting like strangers. Did you fight while I was away?" Adaeze's eyes dart nervously to Emeka. Adaeze, forcing a laugh. "No, just tired." Chidinma shrugs and goes back to unpacking, but her eyes narrow slightly, as if sensing something's off. Over the next few days, Chidinma begins noticing strange things. Emeka avoids eye contact with Adaeze. Adaeze spends more time locked in her room, claiming to be reading or sleeping. When Emeka and Adaeze accidentally cross paths, the air feels thick with unspoken tension. One evening, as Chidinma feeds the baby, she watches them quietly from the corner of her eye. Emeka drops a spoon when their hands accidentally touch, and Adaeze quickly walks away. Chidinma's smile fades. Something is definitely wrong. Late one night, Chidinma wakes up to drink water. On her way to the kitchen, she hears low, tense voices from the guest room. She stops, standing still in the dark hallway. The voices grow clearer. Adaeze whispering angrily, "You're avoiding me like I'm a stranger, but you were not avoiding me that night, were you?" Emeka hushed, panicked. "Keep your voice down, Ada. Chi is in the next room." Chidinma's heart pounds. She moves closer, holding her breath. Adaeze, teary. "I can't pretend it never happened, Emeka. We crossed a line, and every time you look at me like I disgust you, it hurts." Chidinma's face twists in horror, tears welling in her eyes. Unable to hold back, Chidinma bursts into the room. Adaeze gasps, her hands flying to her mouth. Emeka freezes, his face pale. Chidinma, shaking, voice ballyoo. "So it's true, my own sister Ada, my husband." Adaeze collapses to her knees, crying. "Adaeze Astrochi, I'm sorry, please. It was a mistake, I swear it was." Chidinma cuts her off, slapping her hard across the face. Chidinma screaming, "A mistake, sleeping with my husband, how could you do this to me?" She turns to Emeka, tears streaming. Chidinma struck, "And you, Emeka, you were my everything. How long have you been betraying me?" Emeka tries to step forward. "Chi, please let me explain. It only happened once, I regret it every day." Chidinma steps back, her face twisted in pain. Chidinma walks to the door, her voice trembling but filled with rage. Chidinma, "Get out of my house, Ada, tonight. I can't even look at you." Adaeze sobs, trying to reach for her, but Chidinma pushes her away. As Adaeze packs her things, Emeka follows Chidinma into the bedroom, begging her to talk, but she locks the door, collapsing on the bed, holding her baby close, whispering through tears, "God, why? My own blood." The camera closes on Chidinma's tear-streaked face as Adaeze drags her suitcase out into the rainy night.